Well, good evening. What a pleasure to be here with all of you today in the Hall of the Americas, in the House of the Americas, in this, the Organization of the American States. And for this, we thank you, Mr. Secretary General, and your excellent team. We're delighted to be here. We thank you, Rebecca Bill Chavez, President and CEO of the Inter-American Dialogue, and your extraordinary staff who has put this wonderful evening together. So excited. And to President-elect Arevalo, thank you very much for honoring us with your presence this evening. Your speech was not only stirring, but encouraging, and left us convinced that there is plenty to do, but plenty of reason to do it. So thank you again very, very much. And as we consider what comes next, our awards, I think it's important to pick up on points that both the Secretary General and the President-elect made, and Rebecca, which is that democracy in our hemisphere, democracy in the Americas, is much more than an institutional arrangement. It's much more than a constitutional order. It's much more than a political system. It is a tool and a mechanism whereby our people seek to create democratic societies. Societies in which, while citizens have a vote and a voice and an opportunity to choose their leaders and to determine national destiny, they also have a demand, which is to determine their individual destiny. And they seek in their governments the security, the education, the health care, to make that purpose real, to allow people, in the words of our founding fathers, to pursue happiness, happiness being self-realization. And I'm proud to be part of an Inter-American Dialogue, proud to be associated with my co-chair, President Laura Chinchilla, in an effort to help construct these democratic societies by focusing on social inclusion, on diversity, and on building the kind of open society that we all strive for. But before I begin the awards process this evening, I wanted to take just a few moments to recognize an extraordinary American in the larger sense of the word, and a generous benefactor of the dialogue. I'm speaking of Mario Lopez Estrada. He was a Guatemalan entrepreneur, a philanthropist, and founder of a formidable business consortium, Grupo Onyx. Mario Lopez Estrada passed away in March of this year, one day shy of 85 years old. Mario's business interests spanned the Guatemalan economy, from renewable energy generation, consumer product distribution, digital services, and commercial and industrial real estate development. His extraordinary success in business was matched by his social commitment. Founder of the Mario Lopez Estrada Foundation, Mario invested more than $50 billion over time in health, education, transparency, and women's empowerment programs. He also invested in indigenous communities in some of Guatemala's most vulnerable areas. We are pleased to have with us this evening Mario's son, Mario Lopez Perez, who continues the business and philanthropic interests of his father and remains committed to the dialogue's mission of promoting engagement and understanding in the Americas. I want to take this moment to acknowledge a life well lived, to offer our condolences to the Lopez family, and to commemorate the important and ongoing work of Grupo Onyx and the Mario Lopez Estrada Foundation. Mario Lopez Estrada was a friend and a colleague, a great Guatemalan and a great American, and may his memory be a blessing to us all. So, and now I'd like to turn to the first of the awards. It is my pleasure and honor to present the Gender Equality and Racial Inclusion Award. This year's award goes to Professor Djamila Ribeiro. A public intellectual, an activist of renown in Brazil, Djamila, coordinator of the organization Plural Feminisms Institute, has promoted the empowerment of women and girls, explored the intersectionality of gender and class in Brazilian feminism, and addressed the import and impact of domestic violence in Brazilian society. Her unique blend of reporting, analysis, and political action has had a profound and positive impact in Brazil and beyond. She lives our purpose of social inclusion and diversity. She is not just a remarkable individual, but a remarkable force, someone to be reckoned with. And we are grateful and honored that she has come to us this evening to receive this award, which reflects as much honor on us as it does on her. Djamila, thank you very much.
Secretary General, thank you for having us tonight. President Arevalo, thank you for your commitment with Guatemalan people. President Chinchilla, Excellencies, distinguished guests, good evening. I'm honored to receive this award tonight. I would like to thank the Inter-American Dialogue for this recognition of my work. I greet the CEO, Rebecca Chavez, and the fellows Brazilian Roberto Teixeira da Costa and Maria Fernanda Teixeira. I was raised by a family that always knew the importance of the education. My father, a longshoreman and activist, my mother, a homemaker who worked as a domestic cleaner until she married my dad, always made sure that my brothers and I studied. Growing up in an activist family opened my eyes from an early age to the importance of collective work. And so I continued. I worked in organizations support women and young people. For years, I was teacher during weekends for young people living in poor communities who wanted to study in universities in Brazil. But my own dream of attending university came later. I had to stop my studies in journalism when I was 24 years old and became pregnant with my daughter after grieving the death of my parents. They had both died by the time I was 22 years old. I returned to university in 2008 when I was 28 years old to study philosophy at the Federal University of São Paulo. I graduated at 32 years old and defended my master's thesis at 35. I am the first in my family to go to the university due to public policies in the area of education in Brazil. I am a part of a Brazil that changes. We have many problems as a country, of course, but it is important to talk about Brazil, which is much more than caipirinha. The Brazil of indigenous people, the Brazil of the Black population, who is the majority in our country, the Brazil of Quilombola people, the people who fight daily to transform the Brazilian society. I think it's very important to talk about Brazil beyond the stereotypes. It's necessary to look up to Brazil from places of resistance, to actually get to know that country that's so culturally diverse, and it's very powerful. Language can be a barrier. We speak Brazilian Portuguese in South America when our neighboring countries speak Latin American Spanish. So I think about the need to build bridges that break down these walls. Since 2017, I coordinate an editorial label in Brazil, and in the past 6 years, I have published more than 26 books written by Black people, mostly women. Of those, we managed to translate 6 into French, 3 into Italian. I made this effort to internationalize these works because I believe it's necessary to give new meaning to the transatlantic crossing and show the power of the intellectual works of Afro-Brazilians. I am a writer, and I'm also a writer, and I wrote 5 books, mostly about Black feminism, which were translated into French, Italian, Spanish, and German. I was already part of movements in Brazil to translate North American authors, and currently dozens of them are available in Portuguese. Even though having already given classes and lectures at several American universities, the dreamed translation of my books into English was still a long way off. While studying about the publishing market, I've learned that United States only translates 3% of books per year. Fortunately, in 2022, I received an offer from Yale University Press for the English translation of my first book, Lugar de Fala, Where We Stand. In 2024, the book will be published in the US. Thank you. The renowned writer Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie went to Brazil last year, and I was the moderator of the panel in which she participated. We talked about the Brazilian publishing market. She demanded that more Brazilian non-fiction writers to be translated. And upon learning that Yale University Press was going to publish me, she offered to write the foreword of the English translation of my book. It's possible to build bridges, hold the hands of our fellows, and continue together collectively transforming the world. In 2022, I opened an institute in São Paulo. In addition to our editorial work, we offer legal, psychological, and dental care for women in socially vulnerable situations. We attend women and works from Casa Rosângela Rigo, which is the first shelter for women who is in situation of domestic violence in the city of São Paulo. We have projects for low-income women entrepreneurs. It is a multidisciplinary space. The person who gave us the house was a businessman from São Paulo. The strength of allies who build bridges is also made by men who hold hands to work against violence against women. In September 2024, I will teach for a semester at NYU as professor in the Andrés Bello Chair in Latin America Cultures and Civilizations. I'm very glad to live abroad for the first time. I'm sure it will be an excellent opportunity to bring this Black, feminine, indigenous Brazil to the classroom. Our epistemologies from the South are so relevant and necessary to think about the world. May the winds of change continue to blow, as the great Érico Veríssimo says. And when it blows, may we know how to make windmills. Thank you so much.